Hello everyone and welcome. My name is Ruth Rickey and I'm a Tri-OKC board member. I'm going to take a few minutes to discuss the race, gear expectations, and briefly go through the rules of competition. So let's get started. First, we'll go over the schedule. Your timeline on Saturday at 5 a.m. Those of you who did not pick up your packet on Friday can come pick it up between 5 and 6:30 in the morning. At 6 a.m., transition will open. At 6:45, the transition area is going to close. At 6:50, there's going to be a brief athlete meeting. 7 o'clock, the Olympic distance races will start, and 7:15, the sprint distance races will start. Now let's go over the course. Transition is your start of the race, and your athlete numbers are going to be assigned randomly. We use open racking, meaning that you can choose any location. However, the Tri-OKC club members receive preferred rack positions near bike out. Your bikes are going to be racked by the seat. You're going to need to alternate your positions on the bike rack. So if one is facing to the left, the next bike needs to face to the right. Gear should be on your bike or behind the front wheel of the bike. It should not be out in the path of transition where people are going to be running. Once your bike is racked in transition, actually once it's even admitted into transition, you can't remove it to go check your gearing or to do a test ride or any of that. Once it's in until the competition starts. Here's a proper setup. The bike seat is on the number of the little number sticker on the rack, with most of the bike on that same side as the number. Your helmet is unclipped and ready to be put on, and your gear is to the side of the bike and not out into the path of transition. Here you can see the map for transition, parking, and packet pickup. You can pick up your packet Friday night during the social splash and dash or early race morning in the Osage Pavilion. Transition will be in the parking area above the beach, and parking of the vehicles is in the field near the entrance as you come in, and you're going to be directed to those parking places by volunteers. If you need the address, it is 8000 East 2nd Street, Lake Arcadia. For the swim course, the sprint is a 750-meter 1 lap, and Olympic distance is 1500 meters 2 laps. There's going to be an in-water start. You're going to seed yourself as you wish. If you're nervous or slower, please stage yourself towards the back of the pack. Please listen to the race day instructions regarding the turns so that you don't swim off course. Last year, probably 95% of the course went off course. 95% of the athletes anyway. You're going to be swimming clockwise. For the sprint distance athletes, you're going to do 1 lap. Your buoys are on the right, except for your last buoy is going to be on the left as you turn to come in. Your Olympic athletes are going to exit the water there, run back to the start, and repeat what you just did. Athletes will receive a swim cap at packet pickup, and you get your chip from the timing tent. Stephen English is your race director, and he's going to be saying on your mark, and then blow the air horn. You wait for the air horn to go to start. Here's a view of the swim course. So there's a slight angle at the beginning, then it's pretty much a rectangle with a turn back in. Again, the people doing the Olympic are going to run that short distance on the beach and start that a second time. For your first transition, you're going to enter transition from the east side. Bike out is on the west side. Leave your swim cap, goggles, wetsuit, things like that in your area, but not in the main path so that people don't trip over it as they're running through transition. Do not hand your items off to a friend or family member. Put on your helmet and clip it before you touch your bike, and don't mount your bike until you're past the mount line. Excuse me. Here's a map of the transition area. So you'll see on the beach, you're going to start over on the left side where the swim exit line is. That's actually where you also start your race. When you finish, you're going to run back up that same side, go into transition. You'll bike in and out on the same side over on the pavilion side, if you will. And then you're going to run out on the same side as you came in as you were walking in from parking. The bike course is a sprint. It's a 20-kilometer 1 lap course. It's a counterclockwise direction. Athletes need to be aware of the no passing zone, and this is the entry to the park area by the toll booth. We had this same no passing zone last year. The run and bike courses overlap, so we need everyone to be on extra careful and not to pass here. You may receive a disqualification if you are seen passing in this area. You're going to have one turnaround on the course, and then you'll retrace your path until you enter the park. Here is a good map of it, and you'll see the no passing zone is a small area right at the beginning of the entrance to the park. Your one turnaround is going to be marked, and you will look for a sign that says Sprint Bike Turnaround. It is your duty to know that part of the course. For the Olympic athletes, you're going to have a 40K. It is also just one lap. It is a counterclockwise direction. Same thing, you need to be aware of the no passing zone, and you're going to have two turnarounds on the course. Here's a map of yours. So you're going to have the same turnaround that the sprint athletes have, but you're going to have a second one up on another road. So you need to make sure that you follow both of those, and then you'll return back to transition. Transition 2, you're going to bike in from the west side and run out from the east side. Rack your bike by the seat or both handlebars or both brake levers. There are not strict rules on how you rack your bike when you return. Do not unclip your helmet until your bike is securely racked. So just because you're past the mount line, just because you're in transition, you leave that helmet on and clipped, or you may be subject to a penalty. If you have any bike gear that you're not going to take with you on the run, you leave that on the bike or near the bike, but not out in the transition run area. Again, here's the same map we looked at before. Your bike in and out is on the pavilion side, and your run out is on the side leading towards the entrance of the park. Your run course. The sprint is a 5K, one lap. It's going to follow a counterclockwise direction. There will be aid stations out there. Note that on the run out, you have to do the horseshoe section on the right side. You do not do this on the return to the finish, and pacing is not allowed. So if you look at this run course here, you're going to see the little blue section down at the bottom. That is your run out. And so you will make sure that you follow that portion, and then after you do the turnaround, you do not go back into the horseshoe, you just shoot straight across for the finish. For the Olympic distance athletes, you're going to do a 10K, which is 2 laps. So the course is going to follow a counterclockwise direction. You're going to have aid stations also. Note that you're going to run that horseshoe section to the right on the way out both times and on the return of your first lap. Only on the last lap do you cut straight across to the finish line. And again, pacing is not allowed by coaches, teammates, friends. We also do not want them passing you water or any other goos, things like that. So if you look at the map now for your 10K, you'll see that the red line, that you start out on the white line, you go on that horseshoe, you go out, you come back around, you do that horseshoe on your first lap, go back out on the white line again for the second lap. As you're returning the second time, that's when you use this run finish at the bottom section of this map course, and you go straight across right into the finish. After the race, there is going to be food and drinks at the finish line, and the award ceremony will be somewhere around 10 a.m. It's just going to depend on what time everybody finishes, and the top 3 athletes in each age group division will be recognized. Let's talk about gear for a second. Your swim caps are going to be in your race packet. Wetsuits are always the big question. Wetsuits are forbidden if the water is 84 degrees or higher. They are mandatory if it's 60.6 degrees or lower. When I took the temperature the other day, it was 73.3, just to give you an idea. Water and air temperature are taken on the race day 1 hour prior to each event, and they'll be announced constantly in the transition area so you know whether or not you can wear your wetsuit. If it is warmer than 78.1, which I don't expect, know that wetsuits are optional, and there may be a second wave that would start at the back for people that choose to wear a wetsuit in that situation. Let's talk about bike equipment. Both of your bar end in a road bike format, if you have a road bike with those drop handlebars, those have to be plugged or you are not allowed to race. So please, please, please double check that before you come. We may or may not have a bike shop that has bar end plugs available for you. Sometimes the race has them. You need to be responsible for that. You're going to place your bike's number on the back of the stem under your seat or on this cross stem by your seat as shown in this picture. Your helmet, the bike sticker, goes on the very front. Let's talk about race day. All of you are going to be assigned a race number, and those were at random order. You've got your bike frame and your helmet stickers, and then you're going to be body marked. And this is done by volunteers outside of transition. They're going to mark your arm and a leg. They may only mark one arm and a leg, but you should expect that you're going to be marked with a Sharpie on race morning. On race day check-in, you need to make sure that before you get to transition, you've got everything marked or that they're marking you right there, that you have your timing chip on your ankle, and make sure again that those bar end plugs are capped. Only registered athletes can go into the transition area, so I know your spouse and your friends and your kids want to come help you, but they are not allowed to. It is just the registered athletes. Again, Tri-OKC members get the positions closest to bike out. It's not too late to join Tri-OKC. Once you're in transition, your bikes stay there until the competition begins, and everything needs to be in your spot and under your bike area or to the side of it. And marking of transition spots is not allowed. Okay, here's two more great pictures of transition setup so you can see it's not extending out past things. You're keeping everything clean, neat, whether your helmet's to the side of the bike or on the bike. We don't care in this situation. We just want things to be clean and neat and set up so that other people have access to their space. Let's go over the rules. There are three types of penalties. You could receive a warning, which is going to be a verbal warning by the official to correct something so that they're trying to keep you from getting a penalty. If you're shown a yellow card, this is a 10-second penalty if you're doing the sprint and 15 seconds if you're doing the Olympic. It's going to be served in transition or on the spot of the penalty, or sometimes at the penalty area. The blue card is going to be a drafting penalty, and this is 30 seconds for sprint, 1 minute for an Olympic distance. And you serve your drafting penalties in the penalty area, and that's going to be an area that's really just marked kind of on the ground outside of transition, normally where the relay athletes do their tag zones. The responsibility for serving the penalties, if you are shown a blue card, is on you. This is new for 2025, so we want to make sure everybody knows the bicycle draft zone for any distance of race is now 12 meters long. So we don't have to distinguish whether you're doing the sprint or the Olympic. Everybody needs to keep 6 bike lengths of clear space. Upon entering the draft zone of another cyclist, you have a maximum of 25 seconds to pass through the zone of that athlete and complete the pass. For blocking, there are 2 common ways for this penalty. You are always to ride to the right side of the road. If you ride in the middle or the left, you are blocking another athlete from completing a legal pass on the left side of you. That's blocking, and that can result in a time penalty. Also, friends tend to ride side by side and chat as they bike. Again, this blocks anyone from safely passing on the left and is essentially sitting in the draft zone riding by another athlete. Depending on the race, you may be called for drafting or blocking, and that is up to the discretion of the race official, which is Debbie Wog, depending on what she perceives is happening that day. Age group athletes often move left well before they approach or enter the draft zone of the leading cyclist. You need to move to the right and only move left in order to complete a pass. The athlete riding bike 2 in this illustration is way out of position because they've moved over very, very early, and so that could incur a blocking or a yellow card penalty. Here, the athlete on bike 2 has entered the draft zone of bike 1 and must complete the pass in 25 seconds. There's only one exit when you reach the draft zone of the person in front of you, and that is out the front. You can't back out and change your mind. You have to go on forward. So athletes who enter the draft zone and are observed backing out are subject to a blue card drafting penalty. Here, the gap is closed. There's no clear space. 15 seconds is expired. And then they complete their pass. If you're worried about 25 seconds, I will tell you that most of the time when I have timed athletes making the pass, they complete it within 10 to 15 seconds. So I promise it's plenty of time to cover that distance. Here's another picture showing you that draft zone is that space beside them, so riding side by side is not permitted. Going over way early to pass is also not permitted. The time changes have been put into place for 2025, and so you'll see here your sprint is a 30-second for a blue card. Olympic is 1 minute. Shorter than sprint is not applicable here, so your sprint is a 10-second penalty for yellow card and 15 for Olympic. And that is new this year. All of these distances have changed. If you race Ironman, you will have seen this change as well. On the run, you cannot use headphones of any kind. I don't care if they're bone conduction, if you're playing music out loud, none of that is allowed. Nothing distracting like that of any kind. Your telephone cannot be used for music, texting, video. This includes on your bicycle. Yes, I had an athlete texting as he came into transition last year. Please don't do that. You may carry it for emergencies only. It is not to be used in any distracting manner. While you're on the run, your bibs must be displayed on the front of your kit, and you should not receive any outside assistance from your friends or family. If you don't serve your penalty, you may be disqualified. And let's talk about the weird things that sometimes happen. You've seen a lot of swims being canceled lately and race delays. Things can happen. And so we don't know what the weather is going to be like on race day. If something happens, the race director will meet with the race official and they will determine whether you need to have a duathlon, an aquathlon, or a 2-segment situation, whether it's swim, bike, run. They're going to figure all of that out and they'll announce it at the race. The preferred option is always a duathlon with a shorter run first. And if that happens, then we'll follow duathlon rules, not triathlon rules. We will keep you posted on race day as always. And that's all I have for you. Thank you and good luck. I hope everyone has a great time at the race. Route 66 has never had a penalty, so I don't want you guys to do anything that violates the rules. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to any of your board members, the race director, or your friendly official who will be in transition. Thank you.